So this is it. I am about to sit down and do my last pump. This was supposed to be like some emotional thing, and then there's Lily just drinking in the background. I feel like that happens every time I pick up the camera.
Join me for my final pump session. After a full year of pumping, I've decided that it is time to stop. I actually induced lactation, meaning I breastfed my twins that my wife was pregnant with, and it involved a lot of pumping. For a lot of this journey, I've been pumping every 2 to 3 hours around the clock, and when I wasn't doing that, I was breastfeeding twins. I'm so excited to have my body and my time back, but I'm sad this journey is coming to an end. It's been so amazing, and I am so proud of myself for all that I've done, but it's the end of an era.
After 1 year of pumping, I am ready to break up with my breast pump. I did it, Wazzy.
You did it. 1 year.
1 year. I'm sad.
I know.
But I did it.
To be sad.
Last week marked 1 entire year since I started pumping to induce lactation.
Yeah.
And since then, for most of it, I was pumping for the first 3 months, I pumped every 2 to 3 hours around the clock. Like, I never slept more than, I think the longest I slept for 2 months was 4 hours in the night. I slept down here on the couch so that I wouldn't wake you when you were pregnant.
I know.
And I literally got up every 3 hours in the night. And in the day, I pumped every 2 hours for 20 minutes.
Yeah.
How many hours is that just in one day pumping? Let alone
it
in
took
like
so much time. You spent so much time doing it.
And that was like the first 2.5 months. And then when they were born, one of them, George, had trouble nursing. So I had to, what's it called? When you
did
breastfeed and then you pump after?
I don't know, but you
triple
did that.
feeding. And then we'd give him the bottle of breast milk. So I did triple feeding for a month. And then I started breastfeeding both of them. But even then, I still pumped sometimes.
Yeah.
Because if one of them didn't eat and...
Yeah, you still pumped.
I still pumped. And then at 6 months... Fred stopped nursing, and then I had to pump.
Yeah.
So then I pumped for like the last, I think, how many months is that? 4 months. I had to pump for him. So it has been a year of pumping. Like very, very, every single day. I've pumped every single day for a year.
And most nights until recently, you would also, like till like 2 months ago, you would also pump in the night.
It's exhausting.
Yeah, I bet.
I wonder how many hours I spent pumping. What am I going to do with all my free time now? So much free time.
I don't know.
Woohoo! Yeah, probably. I'll probably read. I guess I did do that while I pumped, but I was saying to Allie with traveling and stuff, to have the freedom.
Yeah.
Because it's something that we really struggled with traveling would be like,
it was really hard, yeah.
It's been, especially with the twins weren't with us, it'd be like, oh, it's been 3 hours, it's been 4 hours. Sam has to go pump. So we'd have to
your pump
and we'd have to like
be like,
plan our day about where will Sam be able to pump. Well, we have to bring a
Yeah.
bag big enough to bring all the supplies and a cooler and
you were very dedicated.
I've pumped on airplanes, I've pumped in front of my friends, I've pumped in Ubers, I have pumped in hotels, everywhere. I have pumped all over. So
yeah,
wow, I can't believe
done
it.
A lot.
My friends used to always joke that when I'd be like pumping, we'd be like playing a board game, and it'd be like zzz, 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 and they're like sick beat sound.
Like you did.
I'm done. I did it. And I'm not actually completely done. I'm just done pumping. I'm still going to nurse George whenever he wants for comfort. So I hadn't pumped in 2 days, but I was still breastfeeding him like 2-ish times a day. This is my last milk. It is time to pack up my pumping supplies. After a year of pumping, I'm done, so I don't need them anymore. This feels so weird to be doing, but at least we're gonna have so much drawer space because There's so much pumping supplies in here. Like, look, this has a bunch of stuff. This has a bunch of stuff. And then there's also things in probably both of these. And since we live in a house with limited storage, I mean, it'll be nice to have more space. So Allie asked me how I feel about being done pumping. And I honestly don't know. Like, having the time again is really nice because I spent... Is it an Allie and Sam video with if the dogs aren't drinking in the background extremely loud? Why do they always do this? So I started pumping a year ago in July of 2022. It was exhausting and I did it for an entire year and I'm very proud of myself and it's nice to have that time back, but it feels weird to be done. Like, definitely not joyous, weird. And I honestly think a big part of that is that I'm so unsure about the future of our family. Not in like a sad way that sounds like, oh, I don't know if the video is out yet, but there's a video coming out, or it is out, where I talk about like trauma from fertility treatments. And like, when I see my friends that had kids around similar times as us going through fertility treatments again, it fills me with so much dread to even think about doing fertility treatments again. It was so all-consuming and so exhausting and physically difficult and financially difficult and mentally difficult. And it was some of the hardest things I've ever gone through in my entire life. Was it worth it? 1,000,000%. I love the boys so much, but the thought of going through all of that again causes me so much anxiety. And I think it's the unknown that really worries me, because I would absolutely love to have more kids. If you have followed our story for a long time, you know that the plan was always for me to get pregnant. I've always wanted to be pregnant. Allie didn't. And after 3 IUIs and 3 frozen embryo transfers, all ending either in an unsuccessful attempt or a miscarriage for me, it was hard. And our last transfer for me, I had a miscarriage. So at 8 weeks, I went in for an ultrasound and the baby didn't have a heartbeat anymore. And it was horrible. I started bleeding and miscarrying on Christmas Day. And it was just the worst thing ever. And I don't know, it's just like feeling like, what if I never get pregnant? What if I never have another newborn? What if I never breastfeed again? And I feel like all of those feelings are wrapped up in me feeling weird about being done breastfeeding. And oh, spoiler, I'm done breastfeeding too. Being done pumping. And I feel like maybe that's part of it, is I really want to experience those things again, or experience them for the first time, having like a successful pregnancy and like giving birth. And just being like, I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Not because I don't want it, but because like maybe my body just isn't going to do it. So, will we have more kids? We get asked all the time. I would love to. Will it happen? We'll see. We have 4 frozen embryos left. We're going to use those embryos and see what happens. But Allie definitely doesn't want to be pregnant again. Although I say that, and she didn't want to be pregnant in the first place. And then she was pregnant with our twins. So who knows? But Allie definitely doesn't want to be pregnant again. And I'm just thinking a lot about being like a human and like life experiences and how like short life is. When something's done, it's done. And I don't know, I'm feeling very weird about being a person at the same time. I'm having a bit of like an existential crisis. And like, I don't know, it's so weird. Being a human is so weird. Like your life is a compilation of all these experiences that you have, and like it's wild. That's a little deep, but yeah. So I think that's why I'm feeling a little weird about being done, because I'm happy. I made the decision to be done. It was my own call. It was my own choice. I was the one that decided to be done.
Oh, sorry.
And if you're totally new here, you might not even know anything about my
lactation journey. So I induced lactation to be able to breastfeed our twins, which involved a lot of pumping and medication, and it was a lot of work, but I was able to do it, even though so many people said that I couldn't. And there were like healthcare professionals, when I shared that I was going to do this, that reached out and were like, this is not possible. Or people that were like lactation consultants and like, this is not going to work.
That was like frustrating.
And I did it. They were like, this isn't possible, and I did it, and I breastfed the twins, and by the time they were born, I was pumping about like 40 some ounces a day, like 40 to 50 every day. And then for the first 4 months of their life, they only had my breast milk, and then we started supplementing with some formula, and then at 6 months, I stopped breastfeeding one of the twins just because he was like done, would rather the bottle. I was like, it's fine. So I stopped breastfeeding him. And then at 10 months old, I just finished breastfeeding my other baby. And it was a whole year of pumping that I managed. So it was a lot. We dealt with tongue ties and feeding issues, and it was such a great journey though. And I, for the first like 4 months of their life, spent all of my time breastfeeding twins and like tandem nursing, and it was crazy, but I did it. And people always ask if my wife breastfed.
They do. I did not breastfeed.
And are you happy with your decision?
Yes, I'm very happy with my decision.
Good.
Especially because it was a lot of work. You did so well.
Thank you.
But I don't think I would have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot of work.
It
You
was
did
a lot of work.
You did so well. I know.
That's what the whole video's about.
You did it.
So I am done breastfeeding. I had a feeling that it was coming. About a week after I finished pumping, I knew that it was probably going to be more nursing for comfort than nutrition, and I wasn't expecting the nutrition anymore from it. But he liked to nurse in the evenings, and then he started sleeping through the night, just randomly. A lot of the time he's been sleeping through the night. So my milk obviously dried up if it's not coming out. So he also at the same time has a lot of teeth now and was biting me a bit in the nights. And I didn't like that. So it was also my choice of being like, I don't like this anymore. I'm not finding joy from breastfeeding him. And he has been fine with stopping. He hasn't asked for it at all. He doesn't care. So that's good at least. It's not like it was a hard transition on either of us. I feel like I'm the most sad. And I definitely talked about why in this video. So those feelings are the same, that I just don't know what the future holds for me. And I would really love to have another child and breastfeed another child, but maybe I won't, and that's fine. But also, I don't know if any of you know the song that's like, we can let July just be July and like not think about the way things could have gone or like how things are going to be in the future and just like live in the moment. And I think that's the advice I need, is to stop worrying about these hypothetical situations in the future and just be proud of myself for all that I have done and this amazing journey, and the fact that I fed 2 little boys for 10 months. I know I've already said in this video, but they had just my breast milk for the first 4 months. I spent hours and hours and hours, oh my god, days probably of my life, tandem nursing them, which was such a cool experience, feeding 2 babies at the same time, and it was just amazing. I spent so much time pumping, but also so much time cleaning things and so much time just like sanitizing and pumping away from them, and just, it was a lot. Going into this, I knew that I was either going to be this kind of person that doesn't even make it to my goal, which was a year of breastfeeding, and that's fine, and that I'd be fine with stopping and not. Honestly, I will say, I was not as obsessed with breastfeeding as I thought I would be. I thought I would be one of those people that like absolutely love it to their core, and I didn't hate it to my core, but I didn't love it to my core. Like, it was a lot being responsible for the nutrition of these 2 tiny humans, for being their comfort, for being their food source, for 2 babies to have to be feeding them all the time. There were days, especially when they were little, that I was constantly nursing because we nursed on demand. We did everything on the baby schedules for probably the first 6 months of their life. Like, they slept when they were tired. We like watched their cues.
And it was great, and I'm very glad we did it that way. But even if they decided that, say that they nursed for a 30-minute session, but if they were on different schedules and each wanted to eat every 2 hours, I could literally be for 30 minutes of every single hour of a day breastfeeding with like a little break and then starting again, but then they'd fall asleep on you and you couldn't get up because they were asleep, and it was a lot. And I honestly didn't love it to the very core of my being. I wasn't obsessed with it. I felt like I could be that kind of person that would be really obsessed with it, and I wasn't. I liked it. I'm happy I did it, but it was a lot. And there were days that I absolutely dreaded it. And there were days that it was so hard. And there were days that I just cried about it. And there were amazing moments too, but like, it was hard. It was definitely really, really hard. Okay, well, this is the end of my journey. Can we believe it? 1 year of pumping, 10 years. Imagine 10 years of breastfeeding, 10 months of breastfeeding, done.